go for the practice just now for these two things. Rest of the things are completely fine. Just go for this mix graph and go for this pie chart. These two. Just create everyone these two graph at your end, pie chart and the mix chart, and see you are getting the same result or not. And to make this chart title dynamic also, because the next things we are just going to see that one there we will use this concept. That's I'm asking to perform this at your end. Chart and chart. Please perform everyone. Okay. So now we are just going to see second one. Okay. So here we are going to see the concept of dashboard now. Okay. So please understand this carefully. Okay. So first of all, let's understand that what exactly the dashboard is. Okay. So dashboard is combination of two things. Okay. Dashboard is combination of two things. One is your functions and second is graphs. That's it. Okay. And why do we prepare the dashboard? So we prepare the dashboard, which is basically the summarization of multiple reports on the single page, and where user can make the more analysis on the basis of your summarized report into the graphical manner. Okay. Now, for creating this dashboard, firstly, you have to add this developer tab. Okay. So how you will add that one? Go into the file menu, go into this options, and here you will see this customize ribbon tab. Click on this one, and here you will see this developer. Default it will be the unchecked. You have to check this developer tab and you have to click on the OK. Okay. Once you click on the OK, you will be able to see this developer tab. And under this developer tab, we have this insert control, which we are going to discuss. And in the insert control, we will discuss on this form controls. We will not touch this ActiveX control because this is completely related to the VB automation, in which I just covered that. So for this Excel, as per requirement, we will just go for this form controls only. Okay. So if you want to create any kind of a dashboards reporting, so we can just go for this form controls. Okay. Remember this point, which I'm just going to call it down. For any of the dashboard, okay, there is no specific fixed function. I cannot call this that this is the function which you can use in each and every dashboard. No. I will see the requirement. I will understand the requirement. I will see the data set, and according to that, I will use the formula or the functions. Okay. So you must be well aware from the Excel functions that which Excel function you have to use in which kind of a scenario. Okay. So now, firstly, we are going to see this option button. Okay. So we are going to create one dashboard through this option button, but first understand the requirement. The feature of this option button is at a one time you will be able to select a one value. So for an example, if I have given you this 4 different department data, okay, the MIS department data, HR department data, finance department data, and the brand department data. You have a 4 individual department data.
Sorry to interrupt you. Can you please tell us how to add the developer tab again?
Go into file, go into options, customize ribbon, and here you can see the check, this one, developer tab. You have to check that one.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, welcome. Now, here we have to create a such kind of a visualization or the dashboard here, where if user select any of the department, then My visualization should reflect the name and the salary for that particular department. Okay. So first of all, I just need to create the radio button or the option button for each and every department. Okay. So first understand this one. Okay. Please focus on my screen. Okay. Then do the practice after that. So now I will simply go into this developer tab, and here in the insert, I will go with this form control option button. Click on this, and now if I just drag it over here, you can see this option button. I can rename this. I can say this MIS. Okay. Option button basically generate the index number. So I will do the right click on this, and I will go into the format control, and here in the cell link I will select a cell where I want to store the generated index number. So I selected A1 cell. You can select any of the cell. Okay. I clicked on OK, and now if I'm selecting MIS, so you can see it is showing the index number as a 1. For the next button, index number will be the 2. For the next button, index number will be the 3, and so on. Okay. Now, I just want to create another button. So similarly, I can go here and click on this. I can create it. Or also you can do one thing. One button you have created, do the right click, copy this one and paste it here. Okay. This is a second button. I can rename this to HR. Third button, I have just created this one, and here I can rename this. I say this is finance. Okay. And the fourth button, I can just go for this brand. Okay. So I have created all these 4 buttons, and if you see, I'm clicking on HR, my index number got changed to finance 3, brand 4. See. So on the click of the button, whatever button I'm selecting, it is showing me the index number of that. So now, as I told you that if I just select this MIS, then here the MIS graph should come. If you select this HR, then the HR graph should come, and so on and so forth. So obviously my graph is completely dependent on the data. So if I'm selecting this MIS, then my data should generate for the MIS, right? From which the graph is going to be created. So what I will do here, either I can use the if function, that if the A1 value equals to 1, then fetch the MIS data. If 2, then HR, 3, then finance, 4, then brand, right? Or I can use the choose function here. It says the index number. So index number is this one. Okay. Now it says, okay, value 1. Value 1 means when the index number is the 1, then what you want to fetch. So when this index number will be the 1, when you have checked this MIS. So if that is a 1, I need the MIS person name. If that will be the 2, I need the HR person name. If that will be the 3, I need the finance name. If that will be the 4, I need the brand name. Click enter, make this down fill and right fill, and you can see. So as I have selected this MIS here, you are getting the MIS data over here, right? A13 to B15. If I change this to the HR, data got changed. Finance, this one. Brand, this one. Your data is getting changed or not? If I'm just changing this button, tell me. Correct?
Yes, explain it one more time.
Now, I just want to create a graph. Select this data. Now create the graph as I have told you already. This one. So I have just created this one. Okay. Add the data labels. I want to go with this chart border. Okay, like this. So if you see, your graph is created. If I'm clicking on button, you can see my graph is getting changed. right? You can see the graph is getting changed, right? Now, one thing I just want to add. What I want to add? I want to add, if I'm just selecting this button, which is fine, but here seeing this graph, will you be able to tell me that for which department this graph belongs to? In the graph, is it mentioning somewhere this graph is related to MIS or finance or HR or
No.
something?
No,
No, right?
sir.
So I want to make this chart title dynamic also, that if I select this MIS, then my chart title should be represent MIS salary. If I select the HR, then HR salary. Finance, then finance salary, like this. So what I will do, in any of the cell, I will make the concatenation. So I say, if this index number is 1, fetch the MIS. If 2, HR. If 3, finance. If 4, then brand. Okay. And I will concatenate the salary keyword with this. So see, I have selected this MIS button. So on A11 cell, I'm getting MIS salary. If I'm clicking on HR, focus on this A11 cell, I'm getting HR salary. So it is working fine. I will connect this cell with my chart title. So as I have told you, select the chart title, click on formula bar equals to, I will connect with this cell now. So see, I selected this HR. So in the graph, I'm getting HR salary. Selecting MIS, see, MIS salary, HR salary, finance salary, brand salary. So my chart title is getting changed every time or not as per my selection, correct? Yes or no, everyone?
Yes.
Okay. So now you can see this is created now, and all the steps which we have performed to create this one, all the steps for your reference, I have also mentioned over here. Okay. So here I have just created this one. Okay. Now, this one. The another thing is that, for example, I'm just gonna change the scenario. Okay. This was one of the requirement where, as per the requirement, I have used this option button. Now, second, I'm just going to tell you the requirement. So understand the requirement first of all. The requirement is that I have these 12 months data for the productivity and sales. My requirement is that on this F1 cell, you have to create the drop down for month, where Jan to December months should reflect, and whatever the month you are going to select, from Jan to that particular selected month graph should reflect over here. It means if I just create the drop down here, okay, firstly, see what is the requirement. I'm just mentioning the requirement also. Requirement. Okay. Now, your first requirement, create the month drop down in F1 cell, which should reflect Jan to December month in drop down. Okay. Then second one, whatever month user will select from drop down graph from Jan to that particular selected month graph should be reflect. Okay, so this is basically the requirement. Like here, the first is I need to create a drop down. So for creating the drop down, you have to go for the data validation. So for that one, you can go select the F1 cell, go into this data here, click on this drop down, data validation, and here just select the list, and here I will select this Jan to December into this source. Click on OK. I can see the drop down where I can see Jan to December. I can select any of the month from the drop down. Okay. The first requirement is fulfilled. Okay. Second requirement is what? Second requirement is that if user has selected the month, like here, for example, October, then my graph should reflect from Jan to October. If I select the March, my graph should change from Jan to March. Okay. So now, as I told you, the graph is completely depend on the data set. Okay. So now just tell me one thing. Now just tell me one thing here. Whatever the month you are going to select, so from Jan to that particular selected month, your data should be highlighted or not? If I have selected this October, then Jan to October data should be selected, na? Because this data I need to show in the graph. Yes or no? Right? If I select the May, then my data ideally should be select from Jan to May for the graph. Correct? So what I will do, see, I'm just creating the graph overall. Okay. With a complete data set, I'm just creating. Okay. Then I will do the rest of the things in that. Okay. I have created this one. Okay. It is reflecting the overall. Okay. Which is fine. Now in this, if I selected the May, then my graph should come from Jan to May only. Right. So in this case, where I have selected this data set, if you do the right click on this and go into the select data, so you have a three things: month, productivity, and sales. And it has selected the whole data set. So here I just need to put some kind of a logic that here that data set needs to be selected only, not the complete one. So what we will do, we have to create that name manager. Okay. So go into this formulas, go into this name manager and click on the new. And here we will go for the name manager. So whatever the name you want to keep, I say the month. And here we have the one offset function. Offset. Then in the offset, we have the first as a pointer, which is a reference that from where you want to select the data. I say I want to select it from here, comma. Then we have the rows. So in the same row I have to go for, I say the 0 row. In the same column, I say 0. But till which height you need the data? So from the Jan, I need that much height data, which month I have selected on the F1 cell dropdown or from the F1 cell dropdown. So now just tell me one thing, any one of you. I have told you the one function where I said that this is the function which basically help you to find the position of any value in a range. Which is that function?
Index.
No.
Match function.
Match function, right? So use the match function. Match, and I say I want to find the position of this one, comma, lookup array in which range? In this range. Right? Comma, 0 for exact match. Match, bracket close, and this is offset bracket close. Now if I click on OK and just click on this up arrow to check, now tell me I have selected the May in the drop down. So in column A, Jan to May range is getting circulated or not? If you see on my screen, right? Correct. Now, if I change this from Jan to September, and now if I show this to you, now just tell me it got changed from Jan to September or not? Yes or no? Are you able to see the circulating range in column A?
Yes, sir.
Right? So it is working fine. And in the same way, whatever the range is getting highlighted in column A, the same range needs to be highlighted in column B, the same range needs to be highlighted in column C. So for that one, I will create another new name manager for productivity with a name as a prod I am creating. You can give any name. Okay. Here, offset. Same formula we will use. Instead of A2 cell, we will use the B2 cell. Or to make it more short, we can also do one thing. We have created the one name manager as a month. We call that same name manager for the next column. So I will say, take the reference from the month. This month is not the header. This month is the name manager which we have created. Then 0, 1 in the same row, but one column ahead. So here, if you see, it is highlighting the productivity from Jan to September. And same, I will just go for this sales here, and we will use that offset. And I say month, 0, 2. And now if I click on OK, so you can see it is highlighting. So we have created 3 name manager: month, prod, and sales. And these name manager we are going to call into our graph.
Hello,
sir.
That month means I'm not able to understand how actually it work. Month, 0, 2. What is how it actually work?
This one, right?
Yeah, offset.
Okay, so month is basically this one, the name manager which we have created. Okay, this range I'm just calling it, and I say from that column go for the second column. In the second column you have to select that range. So this
So what is 0? What is 0 here?
0 is basically the same row. I do
Same
not
row?
want same
Okay.
row. I do not want to increase the row wise. Now I want to increase the column wise, right?
Okay.
So that's why I have just given this column number.
0 and then 2.
Yes. Okay, I'm just mentioning the offset syntax also. See this one. Okay. Now here in the graph you have to do the right click, select data. See here you can see the month, right? Jan to December, right? Click on add it. In this range, instead of A2 to A13, remember this, don't go with this exclamation. Okay, don't touch that exclamation sign. From this dollar to till the last, remove that and call that name manager. So for the month, I have created the month name manager. Click on OK. Select the productivity, this one, add it. And here in the bottom, same, remove this range. Don't touch exclamation sign, remember this. And here I have created the prod for this. Same, select the sales, add it. And here for this, I will give the sales. That is the name manager. Click OK. Click OK. Now just tell me which month you have selected from the drop down. September. In the graph, you are getting the data from Jan to September or not?
Yes.
Okay. Now if I change this from the drop down, for example, I selected March. Your graph got changed from Jan to March or not?
Yes.
Right? If I'm selecting this June, you can see. If I'm selecting September, you can see. December, you can see. It is keep changing. Right? Also, you can add the data tables also. Okay, like this. It will also get changed. September, then May, November, right? It is keep changing, which is absolutely perfect. Right? So we have fulfilled this requirement. Now, one of my requirement is also the third one.
Sir, I have one query only. See, likewise, VLOOKUP earlier mentioned that the use of that function is to check vertically means related information. Okay, what reference we gave. What is the use of offset?
Offset is basically the function through which from any of the pointer you can move into the row wise, you can move into the column wise, you can fetch the height data, you can fetch the width data. Height is basically to select the two or more than two range the vertically. Okay. And width is to select the two or more than two ranges horizontally. So through the offset, you can pick any column value or any row value. Like here, if I use this offset, suppose I say this is a pointer, okay? And I say from here, I need to move the two row and one column. So if I press enter, you are getting this value or not? 5174,
Okay.
right? So it means what? From the A1, I want to move the two row. So the two row is what? The first row is a Jan, second row is a Feb. Correct? Then I said what? I need to move from the one column from here. If you move from Fab to one column here, so the value is 5174 or not?
Yes.
Right? If I say the two column, then which value should come?
2089.
2089. Correct. If you change that two column, you can see the 2089.
And if you replace 2 by 0, then
2 by
like 0 means
last
A1
one,
comma 0. No,
A1
no, comma 0
comma.
and comma 2.
So it will give you the sales now that in the same row, I want to go with the second column, right? Okay, this one.
And how you created month name? You mentioned the offset month. You created a month name in name manager.
So
Can you show for a moment only? 1 minute. That name in name manager you created month.
like I told you, this one A2. A2 is basically the pointer, right? And the row and column I do not want to move. I want to move in the same column, right? So that's why I have just given the 0. But instead of this height, I have just used this match function, this one. Because height is what? From the reference to select the two or more than two cells, the vertical, that is known as a height.
Yes.
Right? So the pointer I have just given, this is a A2 cell, right? It means from the A2 cell in the same row and in the same column, I want to select the height data. But which height data, till which height data you want to select? So for that, I have used this match function. So match function will tell you the position of this May over here, as I have selected the May. So it will select the Jan to May height data.
Now it is clear. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Now, just tell me one thing. I just want to make this chart title dynamic. Okay. And to making this chart title dynamic, what is my requirement? My requirement is that if here, for example, I have selected the May over here and graph is showing the Jan to May. My chart title should be Jan to May. If I select the Jan to April, my chart title should be Jan to April. So my title should be completely the dynamic that whatever the month I'm selecting from the drop down, it should reflect that Jan to this particular selected month. How you will make this chart title dynamic? Tell me. Any one of you. Just think about it and answer.